This is Chris, the Idaho Painter. In this video, I'm going to talk about 10 painting tools that every do-it-yourself painter or professional painter should have in their toolbox, so stay tuned for this video. So item number one, this is kind of a simple tool, but this is a tool that I actually always have in my pocket when I'm actually painting it, and this is a painter's 5-in-1 tool. And it's called a 5-in-1 tool because this actually tool does 5 different things. And this curved portion of it right here, this portion actually is used to scrape the excess paint out of your roller so you can save the paint. There's actually a lot of paint that's actually loaded up in this thing, so when you're done, it'll make the cleaning process a lot faster by just scraping it, and you're going to save the paint that's in there. So that's one thing this thing does. It actually acts as a scraper. We use it a lot on exterior painting, doing scraping. This actually acts as a putty knife. You could actually apply putty. Acts as a screwdriver on the end. It acts as a pointed scraper there. We use it a lot. All of our cans, we're opening our cans of paint with this 5-in-1 tool. It makes opening a gallon of paint really easy. This cutter on when you're opening a 5-gallon bucket, this thing actually cuts a 5-gallon bucket to pull the strap off to open it. But the painter's 5-in-1 tool is a very key tool to have as a painter. So the next item we're going to get into, if we're working painting in a bedroom, we're going to be doing our ceiling cut-ins. I'm going to start off with just a simple bucket, and every painter should actually have a cut-in bucket. I use like a 2-gallon bucket with a 1-gallon grid inside this thing, and you never actually want to paint out of the gallon of paint itself. It can actually tip over a lot easier. The base on these things are a lot more sturdier. You're going to load in just about not quite a half a gallon of paint in here, so the center of weight is lower to the ground and it won't tip, and it's a lot easier. It's got a bigger opening in it to actually work out of and do your cut-ins and do your rolling out of. So you got to have a 2-gallon bucket. So the bucket was item number 2, and what actually goes in the bucket is my 4-inch nap. And I like this 4-inch roller with a 3/8-inch nap on this for doing all my cut-ins and trim work around the interior, of a house, or we actually use them on the exteriors too. So this is a great item for interior and exterior, but it's good to invest in just a good quality one if you're a do-it-yourselfer that'll last you basically pretty much a lifetime if you just keep it clean properly. I got videos on how to properly clean your rollers and brushes to make them so they'll last a lifetime. So you don't want to go, extremely cheap. If you get one that's really cheap, when you're rolling, this wire frame will actually bend, and then it'll give you what we call lap marks and trailing edges. But this one, I think, is just $5 for this. Actually, the roller cover that goes on it, it's a 3/8-inch nap is the most common one we use, and I actually really like the Purdy white woven white dove naps. Those things are splattered the least amount that any nap or roller that I've ever used before, and they actually lay out the paint very well, leave a nice finish to them. So it's this is what it actually looks like. This is a 4-inch Purdy white woven nap right there. So to finish off my cut-in bucket with the next item, we're going to talk about a paintbrush. And this paintbrush right here, this is the most versatile paintbrush that we actually use, and we have our vans are loaded with this thing, and it's a 3-inch angled sash brush. And I actually like the Purdy brush. This is a Purdy clear cut brush. It's my favorite brush for doing interior painting, and it gives me the straightest lines, the best cut-ins that I've actually ever done with a paintbrush before is with this brush. But really the key thing, not everybody has access to the same brand names of paintbrushes. There's a lot of good ones out there. Worcester makes a good brush, Corona makes a good brush, but this one, the key thing is the 3-inch brush. It's going to cover a wider area. Your cut-ins and fill-ins will go a lot farther, but versus just a narrower brush, this is the most versatile one. I like an angled sash one because it gets up into the corners a lot easier versus just a flat brush. But a 3-inch angled sash brush is how I finish off my cut-in bucket. And now we'll go on to the next item. Now you got to have something to roll your walls, And the next item we'll talk about is a roller frame and cover right here. The roller frame, you definitely want to purchase a really good roller frame. This is a contractor roller frame right here, and the reason why you don't want to buy cheap ones is when you're rolling your wall, a cheap frame, this will actually flex a lot. And if it flexes and bends, you can't put enough pressure on the roller itself to really get the paint down into the texture of the wall, and then it will actually leave trailing edges or lap marks, because when you're putting the pressure on the roller, it'll bend and flex and it'll put more pressure on this end, which will leave like a little heavy edge. And so you always want to invest in the best 9-inch roller frame that you can get. A roller cover on here, same like my 4-inch one, I use a white Dove 3/8 inch Purdy nap, and it's a white woven nap, and this is an excellent nap. Once again, splatters very little. If you're using a really high-end paint, it splatters almost none at all. We'll roll ceilings with a product from Sherwin-Williams called Eminence, and using that product and this paint, rolling the ceilings in a whole house, you maybe will have 1 or 2 speckles on your face, and that's it. It's an excellent combination. But this is an essential tool, the 9-inch roller. Now we'll go on to the next item, which is the pan that goes along with this roller. And what I do see a lot of do-it-yourselfers do is purchase those really small pans that hardly hold any paint. This is a 1-gallon pan. This is the pan that you should actually buy. This is a 1-gallon metal pan, and we actually typically put a liner in these pans, which is really cheap, like 50 cents, so you don't have to just keep building up paint in this thing or cleaning it. You just pull out the liner, toss them, but we actually just leave the liners in them, let them dry, and then reuse them, and eventually when the liners get so heavy with paint, we just throw them away. But you should be purchasing a metal pan that's a 1-gallon pan to go along with your 9-inch roller. So I believe we're on to item number 6, and that is a caulking gun. So I got my cut-in bucket set up, I got my roller and pan set up. I'm going to begin my painting, but I'm going to begin masking. In order to do clean cut-in lines on the interior, you're always going to, or we always actually caulk our tape and do a method of using frog tape and clear caulking to get really laser straight lines. But we're using caulking guns. If you got any cracks around any of your trim, you got to caulk. If you've got doing on the exterior of a house, there's a lot of caulking on the exterior. But the caulking gun is a very versatile item. We don't use really super expensive caulking guns, but the caulking guns I like and the features I want in a caulking gun, I actually have a video that shows you the exact caulking guns that I like and all the features that I like in them. But I just use these. I think I pay $5 or $6 for this style caulking gun right here. You can spend up to, I think, $20 for a caulking gun that's got nice rubber handles with grips and stuff like that. But this is the one I like. You got to have a caulking gun, so make sure that's on your list of items to purchase. Now move on to another very essential item to use, and that's a drop cloth. And I know a lot of do-it-yourselfers, you can just grab an old sheet in your house or anything else, a blanket to cover stuff up. But the difference between just say an old sheet and a drop cloth, these things are meant to have paint spilt on them and absorb the paint and not have it actually go all the way through the drop cloth into your floor, whatever you're trying to protect. A sheet is very thin, and if you spill paint on it, it's going to go right through that sheet like really fast. It definitely will help with just small splatters and stuff, but you should invest in a drop cloth. This is what your pan should actually set on, that you're actually rolling out of, or if you ever set your cut-in bucket down or your gallon of paint, set it on a drop cloth. And the most versatile drop cloth to get is a 9x12, or we actually like the 4x15 runners. But this drop cloth right here, this is probably the one. If I had one drop cloth to purchase, this would be the one. And I don't know if you can see there's all these little black dots on here, but they're little pieces of rubber, and this thing on the back side of it has those black dots, and then on the other side it's just canvas, and those black dots are non-slip. So you can set this drop cloth on, say, a tile floor, a hardwood floor, set a ladder on it, and the ladder won't slide. And that's important if you're using an extension ladder on your drop cloth, that the extension ladder won't slide on a slick surface. So it's very important. That's a drop cloth. I think it's a 3M drop cloth we just purchased from our local paint store. I think that drop cloth runs about $15. Very important to have is a drop cloth in your arsenal of tools. Another one of the best investments you can make in painting, and that is having an extension pole. And there's a lot of different size extension poles you can buy, and in different ways they lock and release. But I like the ones with this lever right here. This is, you know, a really convenient extension pole to use. This is a 4 to 8 foot extension pole, and if I had only one I can buy, which I've got every size imaginable, and I have probably 4 of each one of them, but if I can only have one extension pole, I'd buy this one, which is 4 feet, and then it extends out to 8 feet. It's gonna make your painting a lot faster and just gonna save your knees, save your back. It just makes the painting a lot more enjoyable. And a lot of people just overlook this, but this is a tool. I think this this extension pole right here is approximately about a $20 extension pole. Once again, this is gonna last you a lifetime. So now I'm on to the last item, item number 10, and these things came out with a long time ago, and it's a hand masker. And this thing actually takes a roll of tape and it actually applies the tape onto paper or plastic so you can mask really fast. It's something that every painter, every professional painter obviously has to have one of these things. If you're spraying, it makes your masking so much faster, but even if you're just rolling walls, it just run around your walls, tack this stuff, you know, all around your baseboards so you don't get splatter on your carpet before you lay your drop cloth down. It just makes the painting process a lot easier. It makes less liability of getting stuff on your carpets, on your floors. We run, just pull the stuff off, tack it to the windows so it sits on the windowsills, and we're just using it for just all kinds of stuff. This is a tool that every single do-it-yourselfer or every single professional painter must have. It's gonna make your painting a lot faster, a lot more efficient, and if you're a professional, you're just gonna make more money in the long run. So there you have it, the 10 essential tools for every do-it-yourself painter or professional painter. Hopefully you've enjoyed this video. If you got any tips, tricks, please leave them in the comments below. If you've got any tools that you think should be added to this list, I would love to hear about them, so leave them right down there in the comments. I answer all my comments and questions, so just throw them down there. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, please consider subscribing. Please consider giving me a thumbs up and a like. It's just a simple way to help support my channel. If you want to see more tips and tricks on painting or home improvement, go check me out on Facebook, Pinterest, Twitter, or even Instagram. And once again, we'll see you on my next video. And you can also go check out my website, theidahopainter.com, to check out my tool store. All these tools that you've actually seen me show here, that I've actually shown here in this video, you can go purchase them in my tool store on my website, theidahopainter.com. See you next time.